Hello, it's Serenity. I hope you're doing well. So, the next couple videos I think is basically going to be topics and things that I have been avoiding. I didn't really want to cover it, but I have to. That's what I'm here for. So, it will also help those of you who have been watching my videos from basically the beginning. It'll help you put more of the puzzle pieces together and also give you a perspective from the ones that actually rebelled. So that is what the next few videos will basically be about, okay? Yeah. So, as I had mentioned in several videos, this feminine energy, which I say is an energy, is that creative energy, the energy that brought everything into creation. Think of the word creation in itself. That's the feminine energy. It is loving, it is nurturing, it is love. And the love is something that is the reason why things exist. So these splits, as I also had covered, that are these lords, also known as baals, or it's hard for me to explain everything in just a short time period, so please be patient with me. But these lords, or counterparts of source, whenever it is needed to have an assignment or even create in the 3D reality and also other dimensions, this is what source does. So this was one of the counterparts that rebelled, which now most people know as Yahweh, and the common name is Jehovah. There are others as well that did side with him, and that is what I'm going to get into in this video. Their perspective, why they felt they were right in going in their own direction. So, simply put, these masculine energies did not like being one of many. There was this fight between wanting to be the one and only and forever, not something that's temporary. So this feminine energy, this creative energy, would come, and once the assignment is over, return to the father, the masculine energy. And I know this is confusing, but I will read, because many don't understand the Trinity, but this is also part of the Trinity. It is where they are all one, but work separately to accomplish an assignment or the will of source. Okay? Now, you could even think of source as this masculine feminine energy, or a mother father. And yeah, I'm going to read for you in first I'm going to read out of the Gnostic Gospels. And if you do have this one, it's on page 234. And this is from the secret book of St. John. And it says, "Don't be frightened. It is I who am with you forever. It is I who am the Father, Mother, and Son." Okay, so I'm trying to explain this concept of source being these different energies that work together for a purpose. I'm also going to read in this book, which is a compilation of basically rejected texts that existed, but the common Bible rejected, because obviously what's in a lot of these writings would not be cohesive with the theme of this male dominant world and God and all of these things. that the Common Bible has. Okay? So, also, in the Apocryphon of John, which isn't the same as what I just read, it mentions here on page 757, and I will try to find links to what I'm reading if you don't actually have these books, but it says, "She is the first thought, his image. She became the womb of everything, for it is she who preceded them all. She is the mother, father, the first man, the Holy Spirit, the threefold male, the triple power, the androgynous one with three names." This again is explaining what I'm trying to convey to my viewers. It is difficult to comprehend, but I'm trying my best. Okay, so just keeping that in mind. You have this head, but there are aspects of it that go out into all creation. So, in a way, Source walks among its creations. Or some put it, God walks among men. So, yes, it's true. But it's not something that Source and these ones, including Yeshua, as I say, carnate into different physical vessels, whether they are masculine or feminine, or male or female. This is the way it is. Now, if you are one of these splits, you're separate, you're one of these lords. Now, this feminine energy always returns to the Father, the original husband, if you will. Now, if you're one of these splits that stay behind in whatever galaxy dimension in order to rule, you do not want that union to end. You want to be with that truly perfect love, that divine feminine love forever. So this is one of the reasons that there was animosity toward the feminine energy, the feminine aspect of Source. Another reason was because of this, you would call it a silent power that Source embodies. The masculine energy felt almost like they did not have the power that Mother did, or the divine feminine had. And in the divine feminine's presence, they became weak. This is their perspective. I'm not saying this is 100% true, but this is the way they perceive things. So, this idea of being weaker in the divine feminine's presence also created conflict within the divine masculine, because they felt like they weren't in control of themselves. They are, and they were even then, but the thing is balance, and this idea of holding on to something forever. You can see even in nature that there are cycles to everything. But it was this idea that Source could have all of these counterparts or husbands, and they felt that they could not. Even though they had partners, they felt that once they experienced that true divine love, that connection, that they could never feel the same with another feminine energy, who in their heads or their consciousness was not as good as Source. Hopefully this is making sense. Now, I am going to read from several publications and books to help you see what I'm trying to say. Okay, now, as far as Yahweh, many people think the story of Gomer is about a wife, a woman, basically, who was this, you know, promiscuous woman, etc., etc. But it's really an illustration of Yahweh expressing himself. And that was the writing, is in Hosea. And I won't read it all, but it's in Hosea chapter 2, 1 through 13, where it's basically him crying out and longing for this mate. But he wants the divine feminine or his spouse to be in a role that she is not meant to play. And that is what this is about. So it talks about this woman, essentially, who has all these children with all of these different ones, and how he should be the only one to create and give all of these good material things to this woman. He also mentions that since he's so upset at this woman or this wife, that he would put an end to all the good things that she likes, like her feasts, new moons, Sabbaths. And it also mentions, I will punish her for the feast days of the baals, when she burned offerings to them and adorned herself with her rings and jewelry for them and went after her lovers. So this is basically Yahweh putting in writing how he felt. And I'm not going to make fun of this, because being able to see their perspective as well, it breaks. Okay, so I'm empathetic, so I understand. It's not like at this point Source can change anything except to, I guess, recycle and just call all the energy back, which, yeah, that's not okay. Let me just move on. So I'm trying to basically say that Yahweh, instead of just wanting to be known as just another Lord or Baal, one of the Baals, he wants to be the one and only, or the husband of Source. And that is actually in Hosea chapter 2, verse 16, where he mentions, "And in that day, declares the Lord, you will call me my husband, and no longer will you call me my Baal," or Baal. Some people pronounce it differently. I say Baal. So this is his perspective. So it comes from a place where he wants to possess something forever, indefinitely, but that's just not the way it works. So yes, I understand. It is sad, but it is not that these ones cannot operate on their own or with another partner, as I said. So I get all of this information, like I just don't make it up, I promise. This whole perspective of basically the masculine energy feeling weak and that the woman is stronger is also brought out in the Apocrypha, which I have that also. So that's this. And I'm going to be reading from the first Esdras and stanza 4, where, okay, and then it would be verse 27, where it says, "Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women." This is a very, very long passage, But once again, I will try and link this passage that I'm reading from. But 27, as I said, many have also perished, erred, and sinned for women. And then in verse 14 it says, O ye men, it is not the great king nor the multitude of men, neither is it wine that excellent, who is then that ruleth them, or hath the lordship over them? Are they not women? Women have borne the king and all the people that bear rule by sea and land. So again, this whole thing here is describing basically how the feminine energy rules the masculine even when they are not aware of it. But it's here. But it's not like the feminine energy sits there and says, you're going to obey me, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. It comes natural. It's not one dominating the other. It is a mutual relationship. That's what it should be. But everything is out of balance now. But I just wanted to try and explain why certain ones rebelled. Now, these are just the masculine energies. There's other reasons, which I'll get into probably in my next video, why others rebelled who weren't necessarily lords or counterparts of Source or the divine feminine. But there were other reasons why they did not agree with this concept of unconditional love and forgiveness, etc. Now, I will link a couple songs that also were placed in front of me for you to listen to. And it will align with what I'm telling you, things that I've just said in these writings that I have. Because there's a song called Wise Men by Damian Marley that explains what I just said. So it talks about Samson, David, Joseph, Adam, and how they were strong, wise men, but they became weak in the presence of a woman, essentially. So that's what that song is about. And then there's another one that I'm going to link by a Korean group. It is not in English, but there are subtitles. And the group is called Got7. And you have to read the lyrics, but it basically explains, and even the images explains how they're kind of upset because it's like, how can you promise something that is eternal when in their perception it's temporary? And they're immortal, of course, so they span all of these lifetimes and life cycles hoping to come together again with that divine love. So that's what the song is about, and you'll see the symbolism of them being on the good side when they're wearing white, and then they kind of switch over and they start wearing dark. But you will see the symbolism of the cross that they're wearing, earrings, jewelry, different things, and whatnot. And the dove, symbolizing the Holy Spirit, this feminine energy, okay? So that's what I have to say for today. Hopefully this made sense. Trying to explain and help you see the side of the ones who rebelled, because I still love even the ones who rebelled. So, as I said, loving your enemies. Unconditional love is unconditional. Sometimes you can't help it, but it is a liability sometimes, okay? All right. I want to send my peace to you and my love as always. And I want to remind you, if you're showing love to others, strangers, don't forget to bestow yourself with that same love. Because you'll take care of people and forgive them and give them the benefit of the doubt, but sometimes you're hard on yourself. You need to give yourself that compassion, that love, and forgiveness, okay? All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.